Oh, the April Fool's that you didn't write the copy for that,
that's
and you're just
joke.
making it up as you go along.
Actually, Matt, there is some news, nothing to do with April Fool's Day. Our show today is being sponsored by BlackRock.
Oh,
The new
what?
the new owner of FreeFlowAnalytics.com, the only platform measuring board power, connections, and performance for free.
What?
Yeah.
They did mention in Fink's letter, which I read this morning, all the acquisitions they've done in private markets. So shout out to Preqin, whose ESG product suite Free Float built.
Yeah.
And when I say built, I mean built from the ground up. They had zero. We built the whole thing, and they didn't even mention it in the letter. Larry
Wow.
Fink didn't even mention
You know how these
like
companies
the
go.
ESG offerings and how awesome it is.
I have actually a Larry Fink headline in the show today. So this is the good game. I got a bunch of headlines from the past few days because I'm doing everything I can to stay positive.
Oh, good luck with that. I mean,
As people try to flee the country and everyone's going nuts.
you did open the show talking about a tuna melt, the worst of the melts.
Some people love a tuna melt. They do
No.
at ISS. They do.
No. Everybody hates the guy in the office who makes a tuna melt sandwich in like the microwave. Nobody likes that.
So I pick a headline that sounds good to me, makes me feel okay, and then I have to run it through our what are you? You are like our supreme analyst. Who are you?
I'm our arbiter of
truth.
Yeah.
And
Whatever
our
that
arbiter of
is.
truth gives me a score of 0 to 10 to tell me if it's actually good or not. 10 being, of course, great. And sometimes I don't know how Matt's going to handle it. Sometimes it's a sarcastic 10. Sometimes it's a very sincere 10. Who knows? Who knows how it's going to work?
Our games are incredibly consistent. That's how this
Although
works.
you say that, but Matt, you routinely average basically a 6 on this game. So they
A
are
6
actually
seems high.
That's pretty meaningful. I round up.
Yeah, of course you
from
are.
a 3. From a 3. All right, here we go. I got
All
a lot
right,
of them.
Let's do it.
French minister. She's actually the French. I saw her 2 different ways that she was called: the French Minister of Solidarity and Families, or the French Minister for Equality between Women and Men and Combating Discrimination. I don't know. What is she? I don't really know. But anyway, French minister says many firms in France won't respond to U.S. Embassy anti-DEI letter. She says it's out of the question that will prevent our business from promoting social progress. So someone fighting back, Matt.
Oh, wow.
Somebody. Happens
I
to
love
be
that.
France.
It's always the French, though. It's always the French.
Yeah, and before you answer this, how about this, Matt? They actually got a letter. They got talking about an executive order from Trump saying that that terminating DEI programs is within the mandate of the federal government. It applies to all suppliers and service providers of the U.S. government, regardless of their nationality and the country in which they operate.
Yeah.
And part of this form letter, Matt, was a checkbox. They asked recipients of this letter to tick a box to confirm that they do not operate any programs promoting DEI. Matt, if this is not the middle schoolification of our globe, they're asking them to tick a box saying that we no longer give a shit about women or people of color. Essentially,
They should make it. They should make it like Musk's face and just, do you like me? Check yes or no.
Unbelievable.
And,
Tick the box.
It is really next level.
Yeah.
Of course they're going to ignore this.
Well, no, I don't. Why do you say that? I think there are lots of
French.
Okay, the French, yes.
Come on.
But you got like law firms, big law firms. You got like Columbia University. Everyone is just like, sure.
I do have massive problems with the capitulation. Columbia, go fuck yourself. Skadden, go fuck yourself. Like,
I mean, when you consider, I mean, this is all about under the guise of like anti-Semitism. I mean, when you look at the amount of faculty and students at Columbia that are Jewish, you're only hurting Jewish people.
If you want to,
I don't know what the hell's happening.
If you want to tackle anti-Semitism, great. But everything is not transactional. Social issues are not transactional. As in, like,
Matt, what are the main drivers?
I will stop.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give you $1 if I think you're racist, right? Like, except they kill the DEI stuff. They're only doing anti-Semitism. It's only political expediency. And these companies, these institutions have to know. I mean, literally, you learn this when you're 5. that if you give a bully your fucking lunch money, they don't stop.
Yeah, the
They don't.
bully
The
gets
next
hungry
day, they're like,
tomorrow.
hey, that lunch yesterday was awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you don't want one lunch in your life.
Yeah, it's like they come back over and over and over again until you're nothing, until you're fully captured. Your response here is entirely driven by the economics of the question, which are my short-term business interests could have like a big effect. There seems to be outsized volatility in the short term, but you have traded your long-term institutional trust, your long-term institutional prospects. You are trading all of that for your short-term interests. So, and at Columbia, didn't the president of Columbia just quit, right? Like, just was it Columbia where they just quit?
Does it suggest that they weren't happy with this decision?
Well, because the staff all said we cannot capitulate to this, right?
Yeah.
Like, and we can't lose like, and their thought was we can't lose $400 million. Now Harvard is talking about $1 billion. Harvard
I think it's more than $1 billion. How about the fact that the money given by the federal government for R&D at these universities is one of the main drivers of the U.S. economy?
We've got no internet, we've got no phones, we've got nothing without the U.S. government.
So Columbia, you can't just push back on that very simple premise that we're not world leaders in all of this without the university system getting this money this way.
I think there's a bit of a wake up, right? Like they're not going to let you anymore. They're not going to let you research what is worth researching. They're going to want to dictate everything you're going to research. As in, like, this checkbox proves that literally they want you to check a box that says, are you going to research something that involves a vagina or maybe somebody who's slightly browner than I am?
Yeah.
Because if so, then we are not going to fund it anymore.
What do you think of what Aurore Berge said? We're not going to, is out of the question will prevent our businesses from promoting social progress.
I'm at a loss here because how much of money is the French government, French companies as suppliers? What is that?
I'm sure there's some pretty big multinationals, right?
Look,
that are
they
involved.
were not going to. They were going to cut every multinational. They want everything to look American made now, which is fake
Right.
in a post globalization economy. But you think that like this is the kabuki theater part of canceling all the contracts that they wanted to cancel, so that we can make like American made napkins that might cost $30 instead of a global napkin that costs 90 cents, right? Like whatever. I don't, this whole thing is, first of all, I think it's a 10 that they're fighting back.
Someone's
Start
fighting
with
back.
that. It's a 10 that somebody is fighting back in any way. But Harvard, you have, yes, you're going to lose a couple $1 billion in research. You have the most money of any like academic institution on earth in your endowment.
By multiples.
Fucking pay for it, right?
Yeah.
Like, give yourself your own research.
Whatever
grant.
happened to the old-fashioned technique of just like kicking the can down the road? I mean, they do know how political cycles work, right? They do know that there are other elections coming up, and that especially in democracies, we tend to vacillate. But we go right, we go left, we go center. Why don't you just like why don't you maybe sue back? Why don't you start your own lawsuit? Why don't you kick the can? Why don't you appeal? Like, what is with this immediate you win?
What you're afraid to get targeted by Trump? Congratulations.
But Trump supporters already hated you, Harvard.
Everyone hated you to begin with. They got Claudine Gay fired, right? Like this is like capitulation is the last thing you should do, period. Like you should, when a bully takes your lunch money, you don't fucking give him you give it to him. You're going to give it to him every single day, right? Move on. I hate this.
Well, I don't know about you, Matt, but the bullies in my school too. They were big guys. They were hefty dudes.
They were hungry.
They liked lunch.
Yeah,
they liked
really
lunch. Unlike me, I didn't really
yeah.
give a shit about my
Lunch
lunch,
and
but
recess.
they liked lunch.
Yeah, they did.
All right, next headline: Primark boss quits after woman complains about his behavior. Okay, I went through the painstaking process here. I found like 30 different ways that this headline was presented. Mostly I was fascinated by this because this is the second big retail company where a gross CEO dude has done something horrible, and been fired. Of course, at Kroger, we know nothing about what
That's
happened.
correct. We know nothing.
At Primark, we know it involved a woman.
That's
But
good.
I was just fascinated about how they report these stories. So I actually collected a ton of these headlines. Here are the three of my favorites. CEO of fast fashion brand Primark steps down after allegations of bad behavior in social situation. I like that one.
Ooh.
I mean, first of all, that could be anything. Second of all,
He could have farted at a party. Like
I
that.
mean, can you at least give me his name? I mean, yeah. How about this one? Primark CEO resigns over error of judgment with a woman.
Wow. Is that what we call it now?
And then this one, great reporting on a LinkedIn here. Leadership shakeup at Primark.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Yeah, who cares?
That one.
We don't know who. It could be the head of like IT. I don't know. Like, I don't know what. Right? It could be someone. The head of IT is 90 years old and is just retiring.
I like that.
Who knows what's happening?
You know what? I like that. That is the perfect news headline, though. That is the perfect what that encapsulates the news, which is like, look, none of the details matter. All we know is that someone's gone and someone's coming. Like, who cares?
And the only
right?
people that seem to care are free flow analytics. No one else seems to care.
like there's no.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter at all.
So here's why I picked this one, Matt. Is that it's 2025 and male CEOs are still getting fired for errors of judgment with women. So is that a good thing? I mean, yeah. Go ahead.
Is it a good thing that?
No, I'm not suggesting it's a good thing the guy's doing it. I'm suggesting that in our times of anti-woke lunacy with Elon Musk controlling the government, we're still actually firing CEOs for being perverts and being like sexual harassers. Like that seems good. So isn't that pretty woke idea to get rid of him for that?
Isn't Primark a British company?
Yeah, it's a British retail fashion chain.
So it's not like this isn't like we're still doing this in the U.S. This is like a British.
Kroger is American, no?
Kroger is American, and we have no idea what that guy got fired
Right.
for.
Well,
like that guy.
We know it's similar to this. Come on. I mean, we know it involved a woman, right?
Yeah. How many? But was it an error of judgment, or was it something else?
It was probably
right?
a pattern of behavior that he's exercised his whole life, but he did it at the wrong time in front of the wrong person, or something like that.
He did it with a director, probably, or
Yeah,
it's going to be something. Well, with Kroger, it was extreme because they launched an investigation immediately, fired him, yanked his money. Like they did they did it all immediately. Is what it seemed like. This one seems like this has been happening forever.
Primark actually did admit that a previous issue of improper conduct was also investigated in the past with proportionate action taken at the time. Which what does that mean? They cut off one of his fingers? Like, what does that mean? But obviously, he probably did the same thing in the past. But then they were like, he do it like 8 times, and then we'll be mad.
Also, here's what I don't like.
Yeah.
This is why it's a 2. Okay.
Oh.
Here it's a 2.
Yeah.
And it's a 2 because he resigned.
As opposed to
they didn't
fired,
fire
tarred and
him.
feathered, take
They
away
didn't
his bonus.
Fire him. There's none of this talks about
which means he'll get
back,
a severance, right?
Which means I'm sure they're gonna instant vest him and let him resign. He's been there forever, right? Like he's been there for over 20 years. They called him Mr. Primark. That's what they called him.
Yeah,
right?
that was what headline was that called him Mr. Primark?
I don't know. I thought that was his nickname. I thought his nickname was like Mr. Primark. So we're gonna let that guy resign for doing incredibly inappropriate things with women. That's from
the Times in England. Retailer in turmoil after Paul Marchant, Mr. Primark, is ousted. At least they named him, but they don't give you any indication of why he was ousted.
They did say his name at least.
Yeah, I like that.
They did say his name. So I'm giving it a 2.
All right, let's try to move quickly on a few of these next ones. Protests hit Tesla dealerships across the world in challenge to Elon Musk. Are these not the mini version of, not that we're suggesting that what Free Flow Analytics represents is protest, but is it at least not a voice?
Okay.
Yeah.
What are they angry at Musk about?
Just being a fatuous, flatulent excrement face.
As Bill Burr put it, a hair plugged laminated
Well,
laminated face billionaire.
let's talk about that later. I actually have that in the show later. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I did not actually prep
No,
for
you
any
didn't.
of that. I didn't see
Yeah.
any of the pre-production.
So let's forget that statement. Yeah, go ahead.
I actually think they want to protest Donald Trump. Elon Musk right now is basically.
I don't fully agree, but go ahead.
I think that he's buying elections, and people hate that. But it's who he's
Right.
buying elections for, and that he has so much money. I would.
That's part of it. Yeah, but
Here's
it's
what
the power of his wealth. I think is disturbing people. But
Here's
you're
what
right.
I love.
It's the direction they don't like. Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's great to go to. I am pro this. I'll give it an 8. Right. But
Okay.
I would love
Yeah.
you people. You want to channel your anger.
Yeah.
Channel it in 2 places. Number one, what you really hate is that he's creating dictatorships. You hate Donald Trump,
Right.
and
Yeah.
you hate that like this authoritarian sort of new wave of authoritarianism that's driven by the fact that he has so much money. Number two, what you really hate is the fucking board that paid him.
Yeah.
He should not have this much money. Period.
Money not based on past performance, money based on a speculative market that thinks that his
stock.
Right, like exactly, like it's not actually
The
based
vast-
on merit. Yeah,
The vast majority of the money the tranches of the money that he made were during the run up of meme stockness that was Tesla in 2020, 2021. That's when he got paid all of his money.
Because let's not forget that even if you pull back the bigger picture, there really aren't even that many Teslas sold in the world. Like there really aren't that many on the road. I mean, this is not like a General Motors or Toyota. So how his company is so viable is beyond most people. And you're right. They're angry at the power that his wealth gives him. I mean, he's paying off voters in Wisconsin with $1 million checks so he can load the Supreme Court from a certain political direction.
He's tried to influence the entire German election.
Right.
If Marine Le Pen in France wasn't just found guilty of embezzlement and barred from office,
Yeah.
you know that he would have funded her entire legal fund and
Sure.
tried to get her elected. Like he's walking around the world with money that an entirely captured board and an indifferent shareholder class allowed him to have.
Yeah.
You want to say that he's a fucking genius, which he's not. He may be great, but what he's a genius at is taking your money. That's what he's really, really good at. Taking
He's good at
investor
that, yeah.
money, getting it and taking it and
All right.
keeping it.
I got more Elon Musk, so yeah, I'll move on.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're gonna
You
cut me
can-
short. I
No,
wanted
you
to
can continue.
rant. I wanted to rant.
You can continue your rant on this next one. That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
I like that.
So Democrats are raging against Elon Musk, but some are still buying Tesla stock.
Oh no!
So help me out here, because I just want to have a conversation, and you can give me a score about the conversation. But Matt, which is the best vest? And I'm not talking about one of those like dorky vests that they wear like at hedge funds. I'm talking about
or at Walmart.
Yeah, invest, divest, or protest. Like, oh wait, protest is not a vest.
Test maybe pro vest.
But what do you think? Should you divest from
You need to add
Tesla?
a Patagonia vest in there too.
Should you divest from Tesla? Should you invest and vote out the captured board you're talking about? Like, help me out with this headline.
I
here.
mean, look, this is a hard question because at some point a seat at the table is not a seat at the table, right? Like, it depends on the situation.
Not at tech companies, not or yeah. Go ahead.
But I think like this is an opportunity. This is still Tesla is unique because it is not a dual class company.
Shockingly.
When you divest, you do lose the option to change the vote. You can change the vote by being at the company, right?
Yes.
So in Tesla's case, I think the best vest is invest and vote is what I think.
Okay. So in other words, go to freeflowanalytics.com.
I think you need to vote out every single director, including Elon Musk.
Actually, you don't even need. I will say that one thing. I love freeflowanalytics.com. It's the only. What is it? It's the only, the only platform measuring board power connections performance for free. But I will say, in the case of Tesla, you don't really need freeflowanalytics.com. I think the Chancery of
just vote 'em
Delaware made
all.
it clear. Vote them all out. I mean,
Vote them all out.
They're not
Correct.
independent
Yeah, that's
directors. Yeah. So go ahead.
But Democrats raging against Musk and buying the stock does. I don't know what to do with that because I don't think they do. They know how their votes get,
It
how
is.
their proxies get voted. Do
Yeah, it
they?
is
Do they?
awkward. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
awkward. I don't
Yeah.
like it. I don't like any of it. I
All
don't
right.
like any of
Give
it.
me
I'll give it. I'll
give me a
give it a
score
five.
for the
I'll give
conversation.
it a
All
5
right.
because I
Okay.
don't like
Moving
it.
on. This one's right up your alley. This is kind of tangentially about Elon Musk, but not really. Expert blames phones as a driving factor for the declining birth rate that Elon Musk warned could lead to human extinction.
First
What
of
do you like?
all,
Do you like phones being cited as the reason why we're
no,
having less babies?
I love a declining birth rate.
So you
first of
love
all.
that.
Like,
Yeah. You want the
I don't
primates
like
to take
people.
over again. Yeah.
Honestly, like I know the arguments for like the increase in birth rate are really about growth, right? But
Yeah.
the
Isn't growth the thing that's going to kill us?
the planet cannot sustain the
Yeah, I
number
don't
of
get the
people that we
growth.
currently have, right?
Yeah,
Like
and the only idiot trying to get us to Mars, the only idiots are people who run companies that have nothing to do with Mars, like Amazon's Jeff Bezos or Tesla's Elon Musk.
like if every person was living a middle class to upper class life, whatever that would be,
Yeah.
if every person had it, then you could say some growth would be fine. But at this
The
point,
more the merrier. Yeah.
the bottom 50% like own 1% or less of the assets of Earth.
Yeah.
Like, and that means we've privatized the natural resources for the most part. We've privatized, like, all the money is in just a few people's hands. Like, the inequality gap globally is so large as to like who do you want to fuck with like rabbits exactly? Like, who do we want to have babies? I mean, b- having everyone born into poverty is the good idea, right? Like, wouldn't
Well, it is if your wealth requires
requires us to keep buying televisions. That's
and requires poverty. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Go. So
And-
what's your score on this one?
second
Yeah.
thing here. It's not the phones. It's
Okay.
social media. It's
You're-
it's social. It's social
Well,
media.
I think it's one and the same. They're suggesting.
If you had a phone that had no social media on it, you'd be so bored with the phone, you'd go outside, right? Like,
Well, I don't know, Netflix and all the other stuff, gambling.
I actually think that
March
like
Madness.
doing 24 hours of gambling would be incredibly hard, and binge watching Netflix for 9 hours a day. That would be a limited
not-
use case. That would be a small.
Let's not forget that
population
even markets, even like NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, Larry Fink was talking about this. They all want you to be able to buy and sell stocks 24 hours a day.
That's
just
true.
like
They do want
just like
that.
FanDuel wants you to like bet on pickleball at 3 a.m. If the baseball
I
players
don't
are
know
too tired to
why.
play. Yeah.
I don't know why in my brain. Well, at least there's not like
Who has
a
time for sex, Matt?
divisive-
Who has time for sex?
But it's not a divisive political thing, right? Like right now,
No,
our,
only
all
Elon
our
seems to care.
information is
Yeah.
controlled by four
Yeah.
white guys, right?
Yeah.
Where you remove those four white guys from the equation, you look at your phone, you do some gambling, you watch some TV, but you still go to work. You still like you have a barbecue. Like actually, the gambling part is kind of social, as in. When you're spending time with people, you're like, who do you have on the game tonight? Or
Okay.
what stock are you liking?
Yeah.
That's a conversation. At least you're
Yeah.
having one because you got rid of, Reddit and you got rid of, Zuckerberg and Musk. You can't do it on social. You would have to do it in person. I'm giving this a, wait, I don't know how to grade this because
I just want to know if you were excited that someone was blaming the phone for destroying.
But I'm excited
population.
about
But
the
you like
declining
that.
birth rate.
All right,
so
so,
like I'm
yeah,
giving
give
it
it
a
a high
10
score.
for
All right.
the declining birth rate. People understand that.
Out of curiosity, who do you want to take over? Turtles, primates? Like what do you who should be the next master species?
Ooh, excellent.
Elephants?
No, I think primates had their shot.
Yeah.
I think it's time to go back to reptiles. They
Giraffes?
only look. The only reason why it's not a dinosaur economy, an actual dinosaur
What about-
economy, is an asteroid, right?
What
So,
about
like,
dragonflies? I really like dragonflies. They're cool.
I'll be okay with that. yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's try to speed up a little bit here.
How
Oh no,
dare you.
this one's gonna slow you down. Glass Lewis recommends. No, Glass Lewis and ISS recommend votes against CEO pay at Goldman Sachs. Matt,
Ooh, okay.
they're against something, and what they're against specifically is something we talked about a lot. Is the combined $160 million in retention awards given to CEO D. Saul and President John Waldron. They're
Did
against
they-
something, Matt. They found something that they don't like.
Did they suggest they're voting against the entire nominating committee, or that's
No, I
just
don't
not?
actually see that anywhere. No, and nor would they actually take it that far, right? They won't,
Because
because the compensation committee absolutely should be a target here, of course.
why would you? Why wouldn't you vote against the people who set the pay? You know who also? I know he's not in the meeting, like because he's technically not allowed to be, air quotes. But isn't DJ D Sol the head of the actual board? He's the chair of the board, correct?
I believe so. Yes.
So if you are the boss of the group that sets your
You set the
pay,
agenda. Yeah.
can't shouldn't every investor who doesn't like the pay vote against
The
the
chair.
committee that chooses the pay and the chair who
That-
receives
which-
the pay?
Which is completely normal in most of Europe to vote against to protest against the chair of the board. Absolutely.
So Glass Lewis, ISS, go all the way. Nice halfway effort,
I-
but go all
I-
the way, zero.
I love this quote. This is from Glass Lewis. The provided discussion regarding the rationale in the proxy statement is far from robust.
Oh, they nailed him. Oh, they nailed
I mean,
him.
what are we even talking about here? Like,
They really got him.
if they had written a couple of more haikus and poems about it, maybe they would have fallen for $160 million retention bonus.
Be honest. If
Yeah.
they had written a haiku, you would have voted for the pay.
That's true. I would have, yeah. How about this one out of Australia? And forgive me for we don't talk a lot about Australian companies, so I'm going to butcher not only the name of the company but the name of the woman who's the CEO. The headline is "It's woke to be anti-woke." I love this. I love that. Quote.
Wow.
It's woke to be anti-woke. That's from the CEO of Macquarie.
Macquarie, yeah.
Her name is Shamara Wikramanayake. Again, forgive me, I don't talk about either of those entities very often. But how about that headline? It's woke to be
Wow.
anti-woke. And Matt, according to freeflowanalytics.com, this company has a positive 10% gender influence gap. The board is majority women, 5 women, 3 men. The top 3 holders of influence at this company are all women. I mean, this is just outrageous. You don't see companies like this very often.
But I have to give the headline a 5
It's what? Come on.
because
How dare you?
no, I can't be wrong. I'm the arbiter
well,
of truth.
Yeah, I just said how dare you. I didn't say you were wrong.
Well, the buzzer's saying I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's true.
I have to give it a 5 because I don't understand what she actually is saying. Is it bad to be anti-woke because
Yes.
woke is bad?
Okay, I like that you're getting caught up into the semantics. You're caught up into the Bill and Ted's excellent adventure-ness of it all, right? It's like
It's a time loop.
it's a Back to the Future kind of
Yeah,
time
exactly.
warp. Yeah, right.
I don't like. It's
What
like
she's
in
making fun
Terminator.
of, what she is doing is she's actually making fun of the anti-woke crowd, saying, "Oh, now you're the woke ones."
Well,
for
see,
being,
I
right?
only you read the article.
Yes, I did.
I
I did.
only have the headline to go off.
Well,
of,
no, but
so-
I told you this company has a positive 10% gender influence
I
gap,
know what you
suggesting
told
they're
me.
very woke, right?
I know, but she could be saying that it's good to be anti-woke because that's the thing to be right now, or she could be saying,
Yeah, it's
woke
a she.
is
Matt,
bad.
focus on the she part of this.
Woke is bad, so
Yeah.
it's woke to be anti-woke, meaning anti-woke is good to be. I don't understand.
In fact,
give it
the
a
U.S.
5.
federal government and all the Boyer research types, they're probably already going to vote against her because the first 3 letters of her first name are she. It's S-H-E,
wow.
she. So she's going to be on some list of vote
Really
against, right?
excellent point. She
Yeah.
did get to she is banned from being used in
So-
federal documents anymore.
So that's a 5 for that headline.
That's a 5.
What
yeah,
was
that's a
your
5.
What was your score for the Glass Lewis ISS Goldman Sachs takedown?
0. They
0.
I,
All right.
they're giving the vote no on an advisory vote and not a vote no against the people. I don't get it.
Feel free to go quickly on this next one. Hooters restaurant chain, known for skimpy wait staff outfits, files for bankruptcy protection.
Oh,
But isn't that woke to make that company go out of business? I feel like that's woke to make them file for bankruptcy. Shouldn't we be giving them a like a federal bailout or something.
Oh, Red Lobster filed for bankruptcy too. Like, I
Yeah,
don't
but this is a company that celebrates like demeaning women and putting them in horrible outfits. So
or
shouldn't
celebrating women.
yeah, so should oh that's see, I didn't think of it that way. That's true. They're feminist, right? Because they're celebrating women.
They're feminist. Yeah.
Yeah,
So mea culpa here.
yeah,
Um, as a joke,
yeah.
I have gotten my
As a
wife
joke.
a,
Uh-huh.
a T-shirt from Hooters. I've
Yeah, as a
actually
joke.
I've I've never been to Hooters except with my wife.
The ironic gift giving at the Mascardi
Right,
household.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's ironic gift giving. When I went to Hooters to buy the T-shirt, I walked in. This is like I gave it to her for Valentine's Day. I
Yeah.
thought like this is kind of fun and funny, whatever. Because they demean women. That's what
Yeah.
made it funny.
Is this also by the way how you described your wedding was also an ironic joke?
Right? A little bit, yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's a sham wedding.
Yeah.
I walked into Hooters, and this is no word of a lie, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm already outing the fact that like
I
I have probably bad taste and sense of humor. No word of a lie. Walked into the Hooters to buy the T-shirt.
Yeah.
Asked the the host.
Where
to
was this?
get the
Yeah.
T-shirt.
Where was this, by the way? Where
This
was
was in
this?
Rhode Island.
Okay.
It was by the airport in Rhode Island. Does it get? Does it
Look,
get any
where else would it prosper? Really, honestly.
creepier than that?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
and I bought. I while I'm standing there waiting for them to bring out the T-shirt, I look over and again, not a word of a lie.
Mhm.
There is a little league baseball team eating there.
I was actually gonna make the joke. Like, was there like a bunch
Or
of youth,
basketball.
a bunch of like young kids there or something?
I'm
Yeah.
not kidding. They were like 10, 11, 12-year-old kids there, like
Yeah.
eating.
Was it a
with
modern
the-
day version of like the Bad News Bears? Was like
all
Walter
with
Matthau
the
there,
male
like drinking
coach,
a beer? Yeah. Yeah.
like who like
A
and the
dirty
team.
male coach.
It
Yeah,
was
sure.
really gross.
It was the former CEO at Primark and Kroger.
That's correct.
Yeah.
No,
he was
and
both.
Kroger, yeah, and
Yeah.
Kroger. Yeah. I'm gonna give this a 5. I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta be. I'm with you, Matt. Like, also from New England, I don't actually see Hooters in New England. Does it exist?
There's basically none. That's what makes it the joke. And it's
Yeah,
going
we're a little bit more adult up here. Like, we don't like put our waitresses into like weird, tight, revealing outfits. Like, we don't need that to enjoy a nice meal up here in New England.
No, it's not required for the wings to be good.
All right, let's get to Larry Fink, our favorite blowhard. And
Oh,
Matt, we're
God,
going
no.
full circle on all this. I'm, again, this is a bit like the Back to the Future comment about it's woke to be anti-woke. So, an annual letter, BlackRock's Larry Fink omits climate change, DEI, and ESG. Doesn't talk about them at all. But Matt, where we started this company, we were yelling at Larry Fink and BlackRock for his fake theater around supporting ESG,
That's
DEI,
correct.
and
Yeah,
climate
we
change
did.
because we didn't
Yeah.
buy any of it. We
Yep.
thought it was bullshit. We wanted
Yep.
him to prove it. So, do we even have the right to be mad about this? I'm just confused at where we should stand on this. But you're the arbiter of truth, so help me out on this one.
I read the letter. He talked all like the majority of it is about their retirement, like
About something that scares me.
retirement
is
gap.
the entering the private market, which I don't like because we focus on public companies.
Big part of it was about the retirement gap. He links the retirement gap to private
don't like
assets,
that.
and
That
he
scares
also talks about tokens and blockchainy,
Yeah,
Bitcoiny
tokenization.
stuff.
Yeah, talking about fractional ownership, but which he said will democratize shareholder voting. But I don't really know what that means. Is it not
Look,
already
the
democratized? I
fact
don't-
is,
yeah.
we have built a system in which all of our future like existence is predicated on a stock market that needs to go up all the time, and this in order for that to go up all the time, you need to have high birth rates and people buying TVs in perpetuity.
Yeah.
I don't care.
TV is the one thing in our culture still that are affordable.
Look, here's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to give this a 10.
Oh,
And I'm going to
do
give it a
tell
10
why.
because
Yeah.
he did not talk about
He's not
he
woke
does
washing.
talk about energy transition. He mentioned renewables in it.
Yes, he did.
And he mentions energy mix.
Yes.
But he does say like solar can't keep the lights on all the time. And it's like, okay, jackass.
Yeah.
Today. You
Yeah.
know, fine.
We get that the infrastructure's not set up for that at this very
at-
second,
yet,
Larry.
right?
Yeah,
Like
Yeah, we're
but
with you.
simultaneously talking about retirement funds for people like who are young and setting up savings plans, wouldn't the best thing to do with those retirement funds be to invest in something that allows solar to keep the lights on
Uh,
all the time,
where
right?
my
Like,
Matt, where my mind immediately goes to people like Larry Fink with his with his authority and power is that he should be the first one yelling at the Trump administration that how dare you take away
oh,
these grants to our academic institutions in America? Like without that R&D funding, like how are we going to solve our infrastructure problem? He has a big graph on there about the trillions of dollars needed for our infrastructure in the future for for
I
roads
love
and
your optimism.
the
There's
grid.
no
I mean, what,
way.
Larry? You're yelling at the wrong things. I don't know what you're doing, but yeah,
There's
go
no
ahead.
way.
Yeah.
There's no way. And but I will give it a 10. I'm going to give it a
Okay.
10 because he appropriately does not care about the things he didn't care about before.
It is true. I feel like it's a small victory, right?
It is.
I mean, I feel like the left is seeing this in the wrong way. Like Larry Fink was never going to
He
help you
never
solve
cared.
DEI. He
That
doesn't
was
care
not his
about
thing.
ESG. Yeah.
Like, great, super. You omitted the thing you never cared about in the first place.
Yeah.
That's what we should be celebrating.
Here's a good old-fashioned headline. We can go quickly on this one. Johnson & Johnson
You said that
lose.
about the last 5.
Yeah,
We can
Johnson
go
and
quick on
Johnson
this one.
loses in court again in bid to settle talc cases. A judge dismissed an attempt to use a bankruptcy court to resolve tens of thousands of claims that the company's talcum powder products cause cancer. Brian, this just never ends. This case never ends.
I just
You
give
don't
it a
care.
10. That's
All
fine.
right, let's move on.
I like that. I like Johnson and Johnson loses. That's
Okay.
That's all right.
L'Oreal reaches 100% renewable energy in Europe. Should we still care about headlines like this? We used to have tons of headlines like this.
Well, how are they keeping the lights on at night? They
That's
must not
true.
be
The
able
question
to
for
do
Larry.
it.
That is a question
Yeah,
for
Larry.
Larry.
Larry, someone call L'Oreal.
Is there some like oil stained macho man with a big mustache and a Hooters shirt? Is he keeping the lights on? Is that what
I
he's
think
doing?
he's actually running on a hamster wheel
He's
all
a giant
night.
extension cord that's plugged into the belly of Houston, Texas. Is that what he's doing? Like
Yeah, that's correct. I'm giving that a 10.
Okay. Okay. How about this one? Speaking of anti-woke, anti-DEI, Target cannot get its footing after its DEI program demise in a 40-day boycott against the retailer. Foot traffic at stores is down for the eighth consecutive week. Full disclosure, Matt, my wife and I officially joined Costco yesterday. We made our first trip to Costco.
Wow.
We had a long conversation about Target, about the Pride backlash, about their anti-DEI programming, and this guy had a lot to say about it. He told me that they are getting just so many memberships based exactly on that premise.
Wow.
That he tells corporate every time people tell him this, that corporate that they want to hear this. It's important to them. So yeah, this is what I heard at Costco yesterday, which has nothing to do with this headline. But yeah, what do you think about that?
Honestly, like it makes me respect the rest in peace Charlie Munger more, who was a huge Costco advocate
because of the hot dogs.
He was a Costco guy. He loved the hot dogs. That's right.
Yeah, I actually walked by the hot dog, and my wife said, "Do you think you'll ever eat one of those hot dogs?" And at first, I was like, "Shut up," because why would I eat a hot dog? But then I thought, you know what? Maybe.
Try a hot dog. Just try it. You will have a stomach ache for 3 hours afterwards, but it will have been worth it. Look, Target. The lesson here is you can't win this. You have to have actually a principle. You have to stand up and say we believe in DEI or we don't, and we have justification for our belief. Because this is what happens when you're fickle and you're just chasing the quick buck. You're going this way, you go back that way. You're gonna what are you gonna go next? You're gonna double down on DEI and beg all the people who left to come back? Because once you're out of people's routines. Once people figure out a way, like the brilliance of a 40-day boycott is that in 40 days, most people would have gone back to Target for something. Diapers, paper towels, some, face cream. They'll run out of shit. And if you can avoid going back to Target in 40 days, it means you probably don't need to go there at all. No, you can go somewhere else.
Because shopping is really just kind of a ritual. So if you get like comfortable going somewhere else, then you'll just keep doing that. I mean, first of all, not only does Costco have cheaper gas, but but the employees are paid so well, Matt. They're up to $31 an hour. That they seem so happy that they actually help you with stuff. Everyone there was super nice and helpful. And I was thinking, why are they so nice here? And I remembered $31 an hour.
Yeah, it's
That's
a real
actual
job.
living wage. Yeah.
I also should say that I bought a share of Target when they announced
Yes.
that they were cutting the DEI programs.
Yeah,
and I
because you
bought
hate
one
DEI
share.
program. Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I just want to vote against all the fucking directors. So if you are like boycotting Target, feel free to go out and buy some cheap stock and vote against every single director and see what happens.
I was going to say, too, feel free to go to freeflowanalytics.com and look at some of the board members to target, because a lot of them are performing very poorly. And you absolutely should target this board if this is what's happening at this company. Yeah.
Yeah. So I give this a 10. I like that they can't get their footing. Like they're morons. So they played everything wrong.
Back to France. France demands Volkswagen face new trial over Dieselgate emissions, one of the biggest scandals to hit the auto industry. So we're still mad at Volkswagen. Should we be? You don't care.
I don't care. This is a 5. They can
All right,
do
moving
whatever
on.
they want. Yep.
What about the fact that this headline keeps? You see this a lot. I don't know why. There's a few shareholder votes that catch the attention of business news. Disney, maybe Starbucks, maybe Apple. Disney shareholders vote to remain in embattled LGBTQ plus ranking.
No.
It's such a mouthful, that headline.
Well, first of all, they didn't really vote to remain in embattled. No. Like, it had nothing to do. This is the Human Rights Campaign, right?
Yeah,
Human
and how
Rights
about
Campaign.
the fact that all these headlines, they don't have any understanding of the non-binding shareholder proposal
Correct.
system. Yeah, but
And
whatever. They're at least reporting on it. Yeah.
They have no understanding of the average votes that these actually receive, right? Like the average vote with management. Management will say vote against every shareholder proposal. In fact, I think it's less than 1% of the time they will say vote with a shareholder or they will abstain. It's so rare that you basically never see it. And in this case, Disney's shareholder, Disney basically just said vote with management, and management says vote against every shareholder proposal. And the vast majority of shareholders blindly vote with management.
Yeah.
They don't give two fucks what the actual proposal asks, or they vote with a proponent. In this case, the proponent was an anti-woke, non-material financial. There's no analysis. There's no data. They don't have a track record of actually showing
political theater. Yeah.
It's just fucking political theater, and shareholders aren't going to do that. So this was a more of a blind vote than a sort of endorsement of the Human Rights Campaign and or Disney.
Yeah.
This is a 5. This is nothing.
I want to point out, quickly go back to Larry Fink. So Larry Fink said in his letter that was released on Monday, I believe, letter to investors, he was talking about tokenization. He said it can democratize shareholder voting. And he said this. He said, when you own a stock, you have a right to vote on the company's shareholder proposals. That's all he said.
Oh.
I just find it weird that
98% of the vote. You missed it.
He's not talking about any of the management vote, but I like how they hide the truth about the non-binding nature of these proposals, and the fact that despite the fact that you'll have a fractional vote in the future, it's not going to make any difference when the top 3 institutional shareholders control basically 40% of all companies, and
Larry,
will vote no against everything. But I like this, Larry. I like your fakery here.
There's only one fucking vote that matters. It is the vote for the people. That's the only vote that matters. You don't have to vote for a single shareholder proposal if the people on the board who did their jobs and hired and fired management and represent investor interest, if those people did their fucking jobs and weren't just management cronies, you wouldn't have to vote for a shareholder proposal. You wouldn't have to ask for more data, because you know what? You could call up your board member like a shareholder, send them an email, and say something like, look, we're worried about this risk. Respond. And their job is to respond to you. It's not to just represent management's interests. If you voted for the right people, you wouldn't have to have a single non-binding shareholder proposal. So yeah, that one's a nothing burger. It's a 5.
Two more, so we can wrap up here. ADM to cut. Is that Archer Daniels Midland or ADM?
Yeah.
To cut CEO's bonus after accounting scandal hit shares.
Oh,
Blah blah
Now,
blah.
I'll let you either do the headline or I can tell you a little bit more information, which I know will kill the score. But what do you think? Do you want more information, or do you want to just look at the headline?
Uh, the when they say ADM, do they mean the board actually said that? Like the board is
That's
cutting the bonus?
Yeah, it's a decision made by the compensation committee. Yes,
Okay, so we're recognizing that the compensation committee has the power
has a role.
to
Yeah,
has a role to
yeah,
actually pay the CEO. That's a good
yeah.
thing. That's
Sure.
good. Like like now I'm sure
Yeah,
that the details of the
the details are
actual
frightening. Yeah,
are like they didn't actually cut anything. The
no.
scandal was actually a big deal,
Well,
but the cut was nothing. They
yes,
probably managed to like transfer it to be like longer dated
yes,
options, right?
absolutely.
Is that
Yeah.
what it was?
Essentially, I mean, really, the details are disturbing. So really, he's getting a $1.2 million annual cash bonus, which is less than his target of three million, meaning that his total compensation falls from 24 million to 22 million. So,
Oh, what is
and
that?
all this based on the fact the reporting suggesting that the errors in the financial reporting led to uh, $9 billion of market value taken away from
Wow.
shareholders. So $9 billion of market value erased for shareholders results in a pay that goes from 24 to 22 million. So he
Wow.
really got
So
it. He
so
really
you
took one.
the lesson here is
Yeah.
every million that you will lose $1 million in compensation for every $4.5 billion that you lose, right? Like that's the lesson. That should sink in hard, right? Because now he can't buy that island
What a
in,
joke.
off
Yeah.
the coast of Maine that he wanted to buy.
I mean, ISS and Glass Lewis should instead of like going through your song and dance of like the discussion wasn't robust enough. Why can't you just call it what it is and call it a joke?
I actually,
It's a
I'm gonna
joke.
give this though. I'm
Yeah,
going to get. I know the amount is a joke,
negligible. Yeah,
but I just need to applaud the fact that there is a compensation committee that
somebody.
voted on something to do something
Yeah,
that like
yeah.
so I'm gonna give it a 6. I'm gonna give it a 6.
All right, and finally, because we got to wrap this up. This has gone on
Wow, this is
forever.
the greatest show we've ever had.
One more.
Everyone's deeply into
Well,
it.
you'll be thankful for the one that I got rid of. One more headline for the good game of April Fool's Day 2025, and this is something that you referred to earlier. Bill Burr. The headline is Bill Burr eviscerates Elon Musk. So let me give you a few of the quotes. He said, "Everybody is afraid of these nerds. I don't get it. They're horrible, heartless people."
Yeah.
But let me give you the fuller quote that you actually kind of hinted at. He said, "Like you were a fucking nerd, nobody banged you, and now you have hair plugs in your laminated face.
I like
Everybody is
that.
afraid of these nerds. I don't get it. They're horrible, heartless people." So he's saying it better than ISS. I feel like I feel like he maybe should work for ISS. Right in the proxy analysis
Would love
department.
that. That
Yeah,
would be great. At
because
least
I
I'd read those
understand this
reports.
analysis. I kind of get what he's saying.
I would read that report.
I don't get
But
like
look,
the discussion wasn't robust enough. I don't really understand what that means.
we've been saying on this show for like months or years, arguably, that these are middle schoolers. They're middle school boys. They were nerds that got picked on and got wedgies, and now they have billions of dollars. And like when Zuckerberg turned to basically like do fellatio to Donald Trump, we said the first thing that we said was effectively that this is a guy who just actually no, we said it when he started firing when Musk fired people at X and Zuck basically followed Uncle Musk into the breach and
Hmm.
fired people at Meta. We said this he woke up and basically realized he has fuck you money where he can do anything and no one is going to question it because he's got fuck you money.
And we don't need this in society. I can tell you that.
Well, guess what? It turns out whether you're like a frat bro who gave the nerds the wedgie with fuck you money or you're the nerd with the fuck you money, what you've got is a vendetta and you hate a group of people. That's basically all you got because this is all about retribution. It's just retribution for you instead of somebody else. When I will be told, Bill Burr, congratulations. I agree with you. I'll give you a 10 because I agree with you. But the fact is, until women have all the fuck you money, I'm not going to be interested in anybody else having the fuck you. Like you're horrible with it. You're petty little vindictive manflakes. You're a little middle schooler. So like and Musk came out last week and was like, I don't understand why people don't like me, right?
Yeah,
Like,
well, maybe you should listen to more Bill Burr.
and maybe you should not send like messages with check boxes that says check here if you like
Oh,
me. Otherwise, I'm
to
going
foreign to
you out
foreign
of existence
countries.
in
Yeah,
foreign countries. Like,
yeah,
get over yourselves.
yeah.
Be adults.
Did they vote
Figure out
on
how to be
Trump?
an
Did they
adult.
vote on Trump and Musk in France? I don't remember.
I think they did. Yeah.
That's it, man. That's a good game. Can I just say, for the record, not that anybody cares, even you. I know you don't care, but I
I
know
don't
our
care at
listening
all.
audience doesn't care. This is your highest score since April of 2024. You actually came in at a 6.9, a 7, a 7. What's going on? You're in a good mood today.
There were some ironic tens in there. Right?
Okay, but still,
I mean,
did you
like,
get a?
give me.
Did your kid's orthodontist like forget to bill you today or something?
No,
like,
I
why
got-
are you in such a good mood?
I'll be honest. For the first time since like October, I got a Starbucks iced coffee.
Oh,
And
you're
it's-
jazzed
I'm
up.
like
This is Ari the
super-
Data Queen. You're all
super-
jazzed up.
I'm
Oh,
super
okay.
jazzed.
Well,
That's the
you
only
can't
reason.
thank Melody Hops anymore. She's not on that board, so whatever.
Wah, wah. That's all we got. That's Hazelnut Rallis.
That's
I'm
all.
Manos-
How dare
Manos
you.
Hole, Matt Biscardi. We are free float. Actually, the one you cut was one that I wanted to talk about.
Are you serious? I
Yeah,
thought you'd be
it's-
mad about that one. You know what? We're gonna cover this on the Friday show.
Yeah, it's
This-
coming back on Friday.
It's about the headline is 3 areas where the boards spend their time but don't see results. I thought it was a more like nerdy, wonky discussion. Let's
I'm
talk
going
about it on
deep
Friday.
On Friday, I think it's going to be the entire asshole.
Yeah,
of the week.
I like it. I like that. Yeah.
It's fabulous. And we'll come back to that. So that means we have a Friday show that you all need to come listen to.
Yes,
Also,
absolutely.
we got we might have a proxy countdown.
Oh,
this
don't-
week.
please
I
don't
think
say
we
that.
do.
Is
I
that
have
true?
so much work.
Yeah.
We do a lot of work here.
Too much
And
work happening. yeah.
Until then, goodbye.
Okay, you're probably the only person on the planet who wants to talk about that. So.
I am the only person. Your calendar says that you have jury duty on Friday.
What the fuck?
That's what your calendar says.
On Friday?
Thursday and Friday. So